The roar of a muscle car isn't just about horsepower, it's about history, and the Chevy Camaro, now silenced for good, leaves behind a legacy as rich and varied as the rumble of its V8 engines. From the Ford-Mustang-chasing pony car to the track-dominating beasts, the Camaro's 57-year life was a wild ride, filled with iconic designs, groundbreaking performance, and the occasional misstep. Let's fire up the time machine and dive into every generation. Now, before I start this video, I'm just going to say I'm not going to go crazy in depth on each generation, as the video would be as long as a Lord of the Rings movie. So the game plan will be a basic rundown on each one. So let's go back in time to the late 1960s. It's 1966 in Detroit, a time where chrome glittered and horsepower roared, and in this year, a legend was born. The design was amazing, with a low slung silhouette dripping with attitude. A long hood stretched forward, promising blistering acceleration, while a menacing grille split by a Chevy bow tie dared you to challenge its might. This wasn't just a pony car, it was a predator crouched and ready to pounce. And pounce it did. Underneath the sculpted hood, a symphony of V8 engines roared to life. From the throaty purr of the 230 cubic inch inline 6 to the earth-shattering growl of the 396 cubic inch behemoth, the Camaro offered a soundtrack for speed junkies and tire slayers alike. While the straight 6 wasn't the fastest thing, producing only 140 horsepower, the SS model was a true challenger to the mighty Mustang, producing 300 horsepower and 550 Nm of torque, while weighing just 1.5 tons. This thing could reach 60 in just 6.6 seconds, whilst completing the standing quarter mile in around 15 seconds. Now I know by today's standards that doesn't sound all that fast, but back then it was pretty damn good. Anyways, there was more to the Camaro than just brute power. The car had surprisingly sharp steering as well as a near perfect weight distribution, which made this thing quite good in the corners. Inside, the cabin was sturdy in function and flair. The seats were decently comfortable, but I will say if you took a corner at speed, you had to hold on for dear life, as the seats didn't do much to help. The instrument cluster was simple and driver focused, keeping your eyes where they belonged, on the road. This wasn't a luxury cruiser, it was a war machine for the everyday warrior. But as the roaring 60s melted into the groovy 70s, the pony car scene shifted gears. Enter the 1970 Chevrolet Camaro, a beast reborn, sleeker, meaner, and hungry for asphalt. It wasn't just an evolution, it was a statement. Once again, she was nice and low, with lines sharpened like a samurai's sword. The 1970 Camaro was all angles and attitude. A menacing split grille gave way to aggressive air intakes, promising raw power in every gulp. Beneath the hood lurked a symphony of V8s, each a hungry beast, eager to unleash hell. From the throaty snarl of the 350 horsepower SS 396 to the fire-breathing fury of the 454 LS6, the 1970 Camaro offered a menu of options for thrill seekers and dragstrip kings. The massive big block 454 enabled a 0 to 60 time of under 6 seconds, while the more tame 350 managed the same sprint in around 8 seconds. No matter what you craved, the Camaro had an engine offering for you. Other than power, it also featured improved suspension, which helped it take corners with surprising agility. It wasn't a lightweight sports car, but it could hold its own on a winding road. Now I will say that the 1970 Camaro was more than just a car, it was a cultural touchstone. It graced album covers, cruised down Sunset Strip, and became the chariot of choice for rebels and rock stars alike. The 1970 Camaro became a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and pure automotive adrenaline. But the second generation's look took a sharp turn into the future, transforming into the futuristic wedge. Sharper lines replaced flowing curves. But don't be fooled by the sleek exterior. The V8 heart still thumped within, a defiant roar against fuel-conscious whispers of the time, while the base 4-cylinder, nicknamed the Iron Duke, was a massive letdown, producing only 90 horsepower. They did still cater for the true gearheads. From the 5-litre LG4 to the 400 horsepowers of the 7.4-litre V8, the Camaro was still very much a formidable contender. But now we have to move on to the ugly child. You see, for me personally, the 4th generation wasn't the best looking Camaro ever made, but it was a Camaro nonetheless, so let's talk about it. By the way, interesting fact, with the 4th generation, GM had some weird ideas. For instance, they wanted to make the new Camaro front-wheel drive, and if they did, this wouldn't just be the ugliest, but also the shittiest car by far. Luckily, the proposed GM 80 platform failed to meet its weight targets and floundered in crash tests, which meant that Chevy stuck to what they knew and kept the rear-wheel drive platform. Under the hood of this specific Camaro, you found the LT1 and LS1 V8 Titans, which rekindled the performance flame. Now the massive big block monsters of previous iterations were dropped and replaced with GM's new aluminium LS1 V8 engines from the Corvette. These engines was then detuned slightly from the Corvette's 345 horsepower down to about 305 horsepower. This generation wasn't slow, I mean it completed the quarter mile in the same time as the 454 version of the previous iteration. But as far as Camaros go, this gen isn't really as sought after as the ones that came before it. Now the 4th generation's return had ignited a flame, but altogether it was sort of a flop, with super low sales resulting in GM dropping the Camaro in 2002. But we live in the future, so we know that they would bring it back with a meaner machine in 2010, the 5th generation. Retro and radical collided in this Camaro, a muscle car with a mischievous grin. Under the hood lurked a symphony of options. For your daily warriors, the V6 hummed a respectable tune, offering thrilling bursts of speed while keeping wallets happy. But for adrenaline junkies, the V8 was the siren song, a 400 plus horsepower symphony that promised tire shredding escapades and asphalt melting burnouts. And then there was the ZL1, the apex predator of the pack, with its supercharged V8 unleashing 580 untamed horses. It wasn't just a sports car, it was a track monster disguised as a street legal weapon. By the way, the ZL1 wasn't just fast on a spec sheet, this thing boogied, doing the sprint from 0 to 60 in just 3.8 seconds with a top speed just shy of 186 miles per hour, while the normal SS model could do the same sprint in about 4.8 seconds. But gearheads wanted more, and so it became the canvas for customization, a platform for gearheads to unleash their inner mad scientists, wide body kits, towering wings, and enough horsepower to shame a Bugatti. The possibilities were endless. From streetlight burnouts to weekend track warriors, the 5th generation Camaro wore many hats. It was the soundtrack to late night cruises, the protagonist of Need for Speed fantasies, and the king of drag strip battles. It proved that muscle cars weren't relics of the past, they were evolving beasts adapting to the times while clinging to their past raw rebellious spirit. So how do you better that? I mean, I love the 5th gen. Could they really improve it? Well, at first glance, the 6th generation didn't even look like a new car, it just looked like a facelift. But it was actually an all-new car, which was based on GM's Alpha platform. This made the car a lot lighter, meaning that with the right amount of power, this car would be a beast. Under the hood you got a whole variety of choices. Once again, Chev offered a 4-cylinder variant for carrot-eating losers. And then for the chest hair growing men and women, we don't discriminate here, from all around the world, they made a few V8s. Atop the V8 chain was the monster ZL1 1LE, a griffin with wings of downforce, its 650 horsepower symphony, shredding lap times and rewriting the rulebook. This Camaro was a testament to evolution and proved that muscle cars could be both lean and mean, ready to dominate the track and streets long after the final roar of its gasoline heart. And then in 2019, Chevrolet went and screwed it all up. What's this? I really don't understand this design choice. It looked good and then, yeah, that's not a good look, bruv. Anyways, now the engine falls silent. No more Camaros rolling off the line, a bitter ending to a legendary story. But the memories are loud and clear. Share your own Camaro moments in the comments below. The first time you heard its roar. If you were lucky enough to own one, share the thrill of owning one, or maybe you have just seen them on videos. The Chevy Camaro may be gone, but its spirit lives on in the garages, on the racetracks, and in the hearts of car enthusiasts everywhere. So raise a glass or a wrench to the Camaro, a car that lived large, roared loud, and left an asphalt melting mark on automotive history. It may be gone, but it will never be forgotten. At the end of the video, please let me know what you thought of the Camaro. Do you think it's a stupid idea for Chevrolet to axe this car? And let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you did like it, you will most probably like most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's something else you like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?